Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, 10th grade. Today, inshallah, we are going to discuss exploring wildlife. Before we start, this lesson is page 48, 42, and the title of this lesson is Exploring Wildlife. So before we start, we have to look at the pictures here. As you can see, can you describe this picture? What do we have here in this picture? Okay, thank you. This is like penguins here. We have penguins, and here we have a polar bear. So before we start, we have to read this question. Question 1 says, look at the photographs. What do you think helps these animals live in polar regions? This is like a discussion, and you have to answer it like orally. Okay, if I say, how do they adapt to the hard conditions, which is called weather for penguins? You can say they have like their skin is different. They are like wool and so on. Now let's read the words here, starting from the word snow, storm. Snow, storm, iceberg, boat trip, wildlife, seal, soul, nostril, polar, ice flow, and webbed. We are about to read the text and then discuss some points. So, polar bears and penguins. This is our discussion. This is our lesson. The title of this lesson is Polar Bears and Penguins. So, now I will start reading. Not many people have the chance to visit the North and South poles. Not all the people have the chance to visit the North and South poles. However, if you had the opportunity to visit the poles, they would appear similar. So the writer of this text says that both poles would be similar. Yes. Both are places, and he describes the pole, the South Pole and the North Pole. He says that both are places of extreme cold. If you go up to the north of the earth and to the down of the earth, that's what we call South Pole here and North Pole up. Yes, he says here both are places of extreme cold. If you went there in winter, we have like extreme cold. Yes, both are places of extreme cold. If you went there in winter, so in winter, if you go there in winter, you would probably experience severe snowstorms. You would have like a snowstorm. اللي هي العاصفة ولكن related to snow in winter. Snowstorms is common or are common in the poles, in both poles, the south and the north poles. Let's continue. However, both are also places of spectacular beauty, and you're gonna see beautiful things while visiting the poles. With their frozen landscapes of snow, ice, and icebergs. If you went on a special adventure boat trip, when you visit, if you went on a special adventure boat trip, when you visited, you would be able to observe the unique wildlife of these places. You would see different, unique places while visiting there. Like polar bears, then what you are going to see inside this place, this harsh condition, harsh weather, cold weather. like polar bears, penguins, and seals. These are the animals, winter animals, that you can find in the poles. You would be unlucky if you didn't see any seals. Huh? The polar bear lives in the cold. Let's see now, where does a polar bear live? Where does a polar bear live? The polar bear lives in the cold, snowy Arctic lands in the North Pole. If you have a question like, where does a polar bear live? You can answer this question by saying, the polar bear lives in the cold, snowy Arctic lands in the North Pole. And how does he adapt to the hard conditions? The answer would be in this paragraph. The writer says, it has a thick layer of fat underneath its skin, and this helps to keep it warm. Why does he, or how does he adapt to the wildlife? By having that God created him as this. He has like layer of fat underneath its skin. Layer of fat underneath its skin. That's why he is warm all the time. It also has a thick layer of fur. Around the polar bear we have like fur. This, what specializes the polar bear is having a fur all over its body. All over its body it has like a fur, sorry. This is the polar bear. Now let's continue to the second column here. We have including the soles of its feet. Now going to his body, to the lower part of his body, which is his feet, like which allows it to swim in the coldest seas without feeling the cold. He doesn't feel cold while swimming inside the ice or inside the cold water. Yes. Beneath the fur, the skin is black. And why do we have like a black? When we say a black, because so it absorbs heat. When we say the color black absorbs heat, unlike the color white. The color black here absorbs heat. Like this is a scientific fact. Polar bears are excellent swimmers. Polar bears are excellent swimmers. They know how to swim. Their nostrils can close so they can swim underwater and between the ice floes to look for seals, their favorite food. Like polar bears, they eat. Polar bears eat seals. So they go under the water. They should have like the ability to swim, and they are good swimmers. Yes, between the ice floes to look for seals, their favorite food. If I ask you, there refers to what here? This word in bold, it refers to what? Their favorite food. And bold there refers to the polar bears. Unlike polar bears, penguins. Now let's move on to a different creature, different animal here. Here we have like penguins live in Antarctica. Where does penguins live? We can answer this. This line answers this question by saying penguins live in Antarctica. Penguins keep warm with thick skin and lots of fat under the skin. This is how a penguin keeps itself warm. Penguins have dark colored feathers on their back. This is like a kind of adaptation to the wildlife. Penguins have dark colored feathers on their back, which absorb heat from the sun to keep them warm. If I ask you again, them here refers to the penguins, not the polar bears. Like polar bears, now moving like another idea, like polar bears, penguins are excellent swimmers. Just like the bears, penguins, they can swim. They can swim softly. They can swim easily. Like they are excellent swimmers. They have webbed feet and streamlined bodies for powerful and fast swimming. And that helps them to swim comfortably inside the water. Yes. They have different diets, but in general, they all eat a variety of small fish. If I ask you, what does a penguin eat? You can answer me easily that a penguin eats fish. Thank you for listening and wish you a happy day. Thank you.